What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Good, The Bad, and The Awesome. For those of you who are new to this channel or new to this show, this is basically my best and worst of show of the previous month. So we're talking about March of 2017 in this episode. And we had kind of a crazy month, starting off with the good. So the first thing I want to open up the good with is a movie that I actually didn't even get a chance to do my review for because I saw it so late in the game, and that's Power Rangers. I was looking forward to this movie really purely off of curiosity. I was a fan of the first iteration of Power Rangers back in the 90s. Wasn't a crazy fan of it, didn't really follow it throughout the years. It's not really one of those things that I hold on to like the Ninja Turtles or like Batman from my youth that I consistently look at today and still love, but it is a bit of nostalgia there. And I'm happy to present that movie actually was pretty damn good. I'll just do a little mini review for it really quick. Things that they did really well in that movie was all of the characters of those Power Rangers. Every single one of them you liked. From Jason all the way down to Zach, they all were portrayed really well by the kids, and they all had their own style of personality and their own style of being part of this group. They were all really well rounded. And even the ones like Trina and Zach, who at the beginning of this movie seemed like they were going to get shortchanged in the story, actually by about the halfway point of the movie kind of got turned around, and those two had the most emotional impact of their stories, of their characters. So everybody got time to play in Power Rangers, and they all did a great job, especially Bryan Cranston. And even though everybody's giving her hell for it, I actually like Elizabeth Banks' version of Rita Repulsa. People are saying she's too over the top. I don't understand that argument in a Power Rangers movie. How can you be too over the top of a villain? I know this is kind of a grittier, more serious take on the Power Rangers, but she still fit to me. There was maybe one or two spots where she toned it a little bit too high, but it wasn't that big of a deal for me. I still thought she did really good, and I look forward to seeing her come back. As far as negatives, despite the fact that, actually before I even get into that, one of the big positives as well is all of the nods and all of the cameos and all of the fan service from all of like the catchphrases from the original show, like it's morphin' time and whenever Alpha 5 did that, there was actually a guy behind me that went, yeah! So that tells you some crazy Power Rangers fans are still out there. But they did that really well. It didn't seem like it was jarring. It didn't feel like it was just shoved down your throat. It didn't feel like it was just glaringly weird that they put all that in there. Are you listening, Paul Feig? But that's a good transition, and the reason why I want to say it first, into my negatives, because the one negative that I have is the third act of this movie, and it's set off whenever they do their one time of bad fan service, whenever that Power Rangers song comes on. When the Zords are all running to kick ass, and you hear, "Go, go, Power Rangers!" It felt so out of place, and it felt so corny that they did not make that work at all. They should have saved that song for the little opening to their end credits before the mid-credits scene. It would have worked perfectly. It felt jarring. Even the way that it was edited felt jarring. And from that point to the very end of the movie, that's where it kind of got dropped down in ratings, because it was no longer about these kids and how great of characters they were and their personal struggles. Then it became like this Transformers movie, basically. And it goes through this constant rotation of scenes where it's a giant CGI robot battle scene, and then it shows a cockpit shot of one of the characters and a one-liner. So you see CGI battle, cockpit shot, yeah, come at me, bro. CGI battle, cockpit shot, go get him, Jason. And it was just so corny because it was just constantly on rotation of this, and none of the one-liners in that segment worked at all to me. And it was really confusing to me what the hell Jason was even doing there, because it made it clear two of them are operating the hands, two of them are operating the feet. What is Jason doing besides sitting there and telling them what to do? So that was a little strange. And the overall fight with Goldar and Rita Repulsa wasn't as impactful as it should have been building up to it for so long. But it was still really enjoyable, and it's still a complaint that you can't go too hard on with a Power Rangers movie, because it's a Power Rangers movie, for Christ's sake. Still ended up really liking the movie. I would have given it see it in theaters full price for those of you who are wondering what my rating would have been. Enjoyed it very much. My kids loved it. Could have been better in the third act, but I really look forward to seeing what they're going to do with further movies if it makes enough money, because that mid-credit scene gives a good little tease of where they're going to take the story. I enjoyed Power Rangers quite a bit. And one other aspect that I want to put into the good category kind of go hand in hand, and that's the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and the Nintendo Switch. I put a little first impressions video out for if you guys want to check that out. I enjoy the Nintendo Switch very much. It's not my favorite console. There is some issues with the way that things work, but it is impressive how it goes from handheld to a home console seamlessly. I like the controller scheme of it, and I think this is a big comeback for Nintendo, for gamers like me that don't really care for the way that they're always doing some weird gimmick. This is still a gimmick, but it's done a lot better than the past couple of consoles. Now, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, I have a review coming out for it. It's been shot, it's being edited right now, so look out for that soon. It's going to go more in depth with my thought on the game, but I enjoyed this game a lot. This is my first Legend of Zelda experience. It's a lot of fun. It is amazing how they do the open world in this game because you have your own choices for how you want to do the story. If you want to go immediately for the main bad guy and the main boss of this game right out of the gate, you can do that. Probably not going to work out for you, but you can do that. Or if you want to go explore the entire world, if you want to get every piece of armor, every single weapon, every character you want to interact with before doing that, you can do that as well, and I love that. There's a lot of dated aspects to the gameplay, especially the dialogue, some of the hokey characters, and the way your weapons break down that really bugged me, and I get into more depth with that, like I said in my review. So that's what brings it down a little bit for me, but I really enjoy that game, and I really enjoy the Nintendo Switch. Now, as far as the bad of March 2017, we really didn't have anything horrible come out in the theaters. There wasn't really any The Bye-Bye Mans or anything like that in the month of March, but there were two movies that I had big expectations for that really disappointed me. They still got somewhat favorable reviews on my channel. They both got seen on Netflix, which is not my lowest rating. It still means you should see the movie, but they were really disappointing. I expected both of these movies to be bites, and they weren't. And the first one was Kong Skull Island. I did not enjoy this movie near as much as most people that saw it and reviewed it. I think all the CGI action it looked really good, but none of it was really all that exciting or inventive. The trailer gave away 90% of the best parts of the fight scenes. All of the human characters sucked. I didn't like half the performances. I didn't care or really get attached to any of the human characters. Some of them were annoying to the point where I just wanted them to die. I didn't really think that this was a good successor to Godzilla, which was a movie that I didn't care for that much in the first place. And it doesn't excite me at all for the further movies they're coming out with, the Godzilla King of the Monsters, or whatever they're going to do to get Godzilla and Ghidorah and all of them kind of together to fight. I don't care about any of it because this movie and Godzilla to me are both stinkers. Then you have the Belko Experiment. Now this movie looked like it was made for me. It was made for genre fans. This is a script by James Gunn. It's basically a story that we've seen a bunch of times since Battle Royale and since Hunger Games, where you get a group of people who are isolated in this environment and they're forced to kill each other to survive. Seen it a million times, but it looked like it had a good horror comedy aspect of it that was going to make it really cool for genre fans like me. And no, it didn't quite deliver on that. It didn't deliver on the comedy at all, and it didn't deliver on the gore and the carnage barely at all either. There was a couple of good kills, a couple of little gruesome moments, but there was not nearly as much carnage in this as it should have been, and I think most of that, which I say in my review, is because James Gunn himself did not direct this movie. Big disappointment for me. Worth seeing. It's not a bad movie. You can put it on and enjoy it as a one-time watch, but it does not deliver on anything I expected it to deliver on. But the worst thing that I saw in the month of March is Life by Daniel Espinosa, and it's kind of perplexing to me how many positive reviews this movie is getting. Even the people that I watch regularly who don't necessarily have a whole lot good to say about this movie are still giving it pretty favorable reviews, and I hated this movie. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but from the beginning, it's just nothing but a complete 100% ripoff of Ridley Scott's Alien. Even some of the newer elements, like the design of the actual creature, was rip-offs of other movies, and every movie that it's trying to rip off is way better than this movie. It's one of those movies that does a storyline, and it does a certain setup and a certain story flow that you've seen so many different times. Really the only new aspect to it is the cast, and it has a great cast, but none of them were really all that impressive. You get Ryan Reynolds, who's great as always, but he's barely in the movie. You get Jake Gyllenhaal. His character's really hard to identify with, and he's not really all that impressive with his performance. Really the only character that I even liked a little bit was Rebecca Ferguson, and her performance isn't all that spectacular in it. So I walked away not really liking anything about this movie because everything about it was borrowed or recycled or ripped off from something else. I saw every single story beat coming about 5 or 10 minutes before I got there. Nothing surprised me, nothing impressed me, nothing gave like a lasting impression on me, especially the ending, which is telegraphed way too much. I'm surprised if anybody sees that ending and is shocked at all with it. Just not impressive at all. It's too bad that rumor came out days before this movie was released that this might be a secret origin for Venom in some upcoming Spider-Man universe, because if that aspect would have been inserted into this movie, it would have been cool and unique and shocking enough to forgive most of this movie. But being that it's just this standalone sci-fi movie, didn't like it at all. Life was the epitome of bad in March 2017. Now, as far as the awesome of March 2017, how can I not open up without talking about Logan. Logan was badass. I loved Logan. That was probably the best movie that I've seen in well over a year. I'm telling you, I loved it that much. Me and Durbin from Durbania did a top 5 comic book movies, and not to spoil my list, but it was number 2 on my top 5 comic book movies of all time, and it was only because I was gun shy at putting it at number 1 since I've only seen it once. It was an incredible movie. It almost felt like a disservice to call it a comic book movie. It was so good, and it was so bittersweet seeing not only Patrick Stewart, but also the man Hugh Jackman deliver their last and best performances on both accounts as Professor X and Wolverine. But that movie was absolutely insane. I didn't walk away with any negatives. I loved everything about it. I can't wait to see it again, and I can't wait for you guys to see it. So check out Logan. That was the best thing about March 2017. Moving on from Logan is the other video game that I got a chance to play this month, which was one of my favorite games to come out for the PlayStation in a long time, and that's Horizon Zero Dawn. What an amazing game. Another review that I have coming soon. It has also been shot and is being edited currently, so look out for that one as well, and I'll go into a lot more detail about what's so great about this game, despite its few little tiny problems that I had towards the end. But I loved the gameplay, and I really loved the story and the characters in this game. This is one of the best stories and one of the most enthralling, deep, connecting stories that I've had in a video game in such a long time. It really unfolds slowly, and this is a long game. You get into it, and you think the story's going to go this direction, but it goes this direction after a few hours, then it goes that direction. I mean, you never really know where the story is going, and it just slowly unfolds and just gets bigger and vaster, and it gets more epic throughout the runtime of this game. The enemies have such a variety to them. The machines, like the robotic dinosaurs, the robotic monsters that go throughout the world of this. One of the best aspects of this game, because there is such a huge variety to them. You get ones that are like the herbivores that look like elk and deer. You get crocodiles. You get the small little raptors. You get all the way up to like the T-Rexes and even the ancient machines like the Corruptors and the Deathbringers. Just such an awesome game, such great gameplay, and such an amazing story. I cannot recommend that game enough. If you have a PlayStation 4, definitely check out Horizon Zero Dawn, and it's almost worth going out and buying a system for altogether. The game is that good, that impressive, and I can't wait to see what comes in further sequels, because this has to have a follow-up. And wrapping up the awesome of March 2017 was the first teaser trailer of Stephen King's It. Now, I have been a big fan of this remake being done. Usually I'm somebody that tries to stray away from remakes to a degree, like, no, please don't remake Nightmare on Elm Street. No, please don't remake that. But It is one of those movies that I have always said should be remade, because it doesn't really age all that well. I love the original movie. I still watch it to this day and still love it because of the nostalgia and because I really love Tim Curry's Pennywise and the first half of the movie with the kids. But the second half and even some aspects of the first half just have not aged well at all. It's not that great of a movie, to be honest with you. So I've always thought they could improve upon it, and this trailer sold me on the remake. It looks terrifying. It looks like it's going to dive more into certain aspects of the book that we didn't get to see in that original miniseries. I think that this new guy is going to bring a new version of Pennywise that may even rival Tim Curry's Pennywise. I'm excited as hell for this trailer, and it's a good segue into a way to wrap this video up with the awesome, which is all of you who subscribed to me over the past week. Holy shit, my channel has grown like crazy over the past week. I released a Justice League trailer with me and my kids that blew up. It's my biggest video. It's sitting at right around 15,000 views right now, and it's only going to get bigger. And the It trailer was right behind that. It's sitting at around 10,000 views right now, and I have had tons of subscribers, tons of great comments, and tons of you guys reach out to me saying how much you enjoy my channel, my videos, my reactions, and my crazy kids. So thank you to all of you who have subscribed to me, even from the beginning, but especially those of you who are new to my channel, because I have never seen growth like this on my channel. It was really overwhelming to see over 120 subscribers join in less than a week. I mean, it's amazing. So thank you guys so much. I do have my Q&A that I'm going to get ready to record right after this video, so that's coming soon. And it looks like I'm going to be celebrating not only 500 subscribers, but 600 subscribers with that Q&A as well. So thank you to all of you. Thank you for watching The Good, the Bad, and the Awesome. If you want to check out some more of my videos, you can check out a few more by clicking right over here. And please like, share, and subscribe this one. And I'll see you next time on The Good, the Bad, and the Awesome.